Today I want to show you one of the lightest and most compact ways to climb on the market today. And that's our Apex 2.0 step with the ultimate AmSteel attachment. The step and the attachment all together only weighs 4.8 ounces. So you put 10 of those together and it weighs in at 3 pounds, which is pretty amazing. Throw 10 of them in these two bags with our ring of steps for your platform, and everything you need to saddle hunt in these two bags is weighing in just over 5.5 pounds. Throw it around your back walking in, and it's a pretty awesome way to go. All right, today I'm going to do a little bit different video. I had someone request a packing up video. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start up at the top as if I'm in a hunting situation, standing in my ring of steps, and I'm going to show you how I climb down the tree and put the ring of steps away in the bag, and then come on down the tree and show you how that all works out, and then how you're all packed up once you hit the ground. But first, before we get started, I want to show you the most important thing, and that's how to actually set and step on these steps. I'm going to do it real quick. I have a video showing 5 tips for using these steps. The technique is very important. It's extreme lightweight. It's not as solid as a step as you would find if you had a much larger step or a much larger strap. To get down to this small and this light of a step, you need to pay close attention to your technique, and that's what I'm going to show you here getting started. All right, walking in, if I'm saddle hunting, I'm wearing my saddle. I'm a tree stand hunter. I got my tree stand on my back, and I can carry up to 16 steps in here. I also use these with a tree stand, but for this purpose, we have a ring of steps in here. So we're talking about saddles. So I'm walking through the woods, have my steps on my back, got my saddle on, walk up to the tree, and I tie up my bow, and I get started. The first 3 steps are going to be put in up from the ground. So you're going to, with these steps, about 18 inches is a typical distance. So that's about my knee. If you're about a 6-foot person or whatever size you are, the distance from your knee to the ground is a pretty good bet. And with these AmSteel attachments, what's super awesome about those is you don't have to thread anything all the way around the tree. You just hold the step in your hand and you reach around the tree and you grab the pressic loop, and then you put it through, you put that buckle around it, and then that's that, and you just pull it tight. So the first step is going about knee high. If I throw my foot up there and see the distance from the first step to my second to my knee, that'll be where the second step goes. So I can get an idea from that, just getting started. And so the second step is for my left foot, and I'll reach around, hold the step with my left foot, reach around, grab that pressic loop, and pull it around there, slide that pressic loop, tighten it up, and set the step. And that's roughly my distance. I can raise it up a little bit if I want to, depending on how fast or slow you want to go. I used to be super into how fast I could go, and I've since then stopped talking about how fast I can go, because it's really not realistic when you're in a hunting situation. You don't want to fly up a tree, especially, a lot of guys now they're hunting close to buck beds. Speed is not important. It's, being quiet and being stealthy. So, I think with this, you can place each step individually, you can be quiet, and, I think you can just control a lot more stuff, in my opinion. So getting started, we have our ring of steps in this bag, and we have 2 steps in there. So to start with, you're going to want to take the 2 steps out of your bag, out of your ring of steps bag. That way, if you don't use all the steps in this bag, when you get to the top of the tree and you're ready to hang your ring of steps, there won't be any steps in it. So I can just throw that over my back, and now I'm onto this bag, and that has all of my steps to climb. And the 3rd step from the ground is my right foot, and it's going to go right about forehead high. And I could climb up there and do that, the check, putting my knee on that other step, but I've done it enough. I've got a pretty good idea. You can do the same thing. You get your routine down where you want things to go, and you get quicker as you learn. So the big thing is your spacing. about from your foot to your knee. That way you're not stretching out too hard, too far. And it just makes it nice and comfortable while you're climbing. I'm not going to get super into the detail because I do have the video. I'll try to attach it here somewhere. 5 tips for climbing with these ultralight steps, and it goes over in detail those things. But the spacing is very important, and keeping the steps in front of you is very important. Okay, you can see keeping the steps in front of you. These steps right here, there's only a few inches difference in side to side, so that's one really important thing, your spacing. Next thing to remember is step all the way up against the tree and straight down. Very, very important to remember these things. We have some other videos on that, so just make sure you check that out and know about the techniques before you get started. Okay, now I'm going to climb up the tree real quick and put up my platform, my ring of steps, and I'm going to move the camera up there, and I'm going to show you packing everything up and coming back down. But before we do, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Okay, we've lost our audio here for a couple minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a voiceover, and we should be good to go. Not sure exactly what I said, but I think I can cover the basics. We are up in our ring of steps at this point, and as I'm climbing down, I'm going to put on my tether. I'm going to have my tether on and my lineman's belt as I'm stepping out of my ring of steps. And one thing you want to do for certain is just look down at your steps before you step down and just make sure, where they are, and make sure that they're not flipped up. The AmSteel steps, on rare instances, could possibly flip up when you step off of them. So you just want to, glance down and make sure the step that you're stepping on is where it needs to be. So at this point, we're stepping down 2 steps, and we're standing on our 2 steps, and our ring of steps is just going to be right here in front of us, and it's going to be, at a nice easy spot to take off. We're going to be nice and comfortable in our steps, and we'll just pull our bag around, and we'll have it in position to take our ring of steps off. Now, the one thing that I will mention about the one noisy thing here that is hard to avoid is taking the ratchet off. You just be extra careful. You can get by with it making just a little bit of noise, but it does make a little bit of noise there. And just kind of be careful how you're taking your steps off, and then slide them all the way down together as you are getting ready to put them in the bag. And then turn your ratchet over, and you're going to fold the steps together kind of 3 into 3, and they're going to make a nice small compact area. You can hold the 2 straps together, kind of pull them together, and it gets your steps together, and you can shake them, and it makes next to nearly no noise at all. And you just kind of situate them down into the bag. It takes a little bit of maneuver, and the bag isn't too big. It's just really, it's almost a perfect
there that's
size.
created where those steps have been put together like that. And we're going to put that ratchet down in there, and that's going to save, you can make a little bit of noise that way, but that's going to save a good bit of room. Then we're just going to shove this strap down in here like that, and that's probably really room for, well, easy 2, 3, maybe 4 more of those steps. Then we're just going to climb down to the next 2. And these first 2 steps, kind of had to finagle that one a little bit. And then when you put them up, your lineman's belt is definitely a pain with these ropes, or with any ropes, to be honest. But I'm going to take these and I'm going to run those press-ix back together. It's going to make it a lot easier when you get it out. And then I'm just wrapping these steps up in a figure-8 fashion, and then I'm going to put 2 of them in with that, and with my ring of steps. I'm going to pull those out, and you get mindful. I'm not very practiced with these ropes, but you'll get mindful of how these ropes interact with your lineman's belt, and you can come up with a plan to circumvent that so it doesn't keep getting caught on your lineman's belt. But I'm going to put the first two steps in there, pull that tight, and I can pitch that around my back, and now I have the bag that the other 8 steps are going in. And now, for those watching, I have to put these 2 steps back on to climb back up and get you. All right, now I got the empty bag in front of me, and we just take this and rotate that. It's pretty simple to get it off most of the time. You have to be mindful of your rope coming and you're getting tangled up in your alignments. You just break that, press it free, slide it up. Then I take this little buckle, turn it on the step, and I'm gonna do the same figure 8 motion. I do that regardless of the strap or if it's a rope or what. And then this bag, the bottom of it is actually square. Can't quite see it from this angle, but the bottom of the bag is square and these steps are triangular. So I put this step in this way. The next step is going to go over here and it's going to fit into that square bottom of that bag. The next step, as it goes in, it's going to go just set off to these, because this portion of the step is much bigger than this. So as we put them in, we rotate them so this thick portion goes over here on the next set of steps, and we just alternate that way to keep things nice and organized. Actually, I should have been down here for this set, and I would take off 2 steps at a time. Again, I'm going to break this pressic loose, and I'm going to run it all back up there, and just put these nice and tight around here together. It actually saves room when you do that, and you can peek down in there and make sure you can come up with a process to be sure that you put them in the bag the same way each time, and that's going to save time and it saves space in the bag. So then you get those 2 steps, you move on down, and then you pull off your next 2 steps. Same thing, this buckle, just kind of a easy little way. Flip it around there. And once you've done it a few times, you'll be mindful of your rope and where it goes, and keep it out of your lineman's belt. I haven't climbed this way a tremendous amount of times, but I've climbed enough to know that it's a pretty seriously awesome way to climb, especially if lightweight and compact is your thing, especially lightweight, and simple. This is really simple. The cam buckle straps are also extremely simple, but they have a good bit more weight to them than these do. Slide on down the tree. We've got our last 3 steps to take off, and they're really quiet. And it may take a little bit longer to get these off. People talk about the fiddle factor, and that it takes longer to deal with these straps and whatnot. But the trade-off is once I hit the ground, I'm ready to go. There's no packing up. I don't have to lower, anything down to the ground. I don't have, anything hanging off of me that when I get down to the ground, I gotta, take off and sit on the ground and situate. It's just it. Get down here to my last 2. Typically it's your last 3 on the ground. I think if you use 12, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, you're at your last 2 on the ground. Take your lineman's belt off if you'd like. Wrap them up the same way. You develop your little routine, and you get to climb 4 or 5 times. Get your routine down, and It can be really smooth and really quick. And you could go slow and it's not, not much movement, it's not big movements. It doesn't matter if your tree, is leaning, you can go around on the lean. You can move around the tree as you're going up the tree. That's the beauty of the steps together. But now I'm hit the ground. I'm all packed up. Grab my bow rope, tie it up, put my rope in my pocket, pick my bow up, and I'm ready to go. I don't have to pack anything up, and that's the beauty of these things. It's just super convenient from my perspective. I'll never climb another way. If you have any questions, hit me up. Be glad to answer. Just make sure you have to practice. That's the big thing, and know how to step on these steps, especially with these super light attachments. You have to know, you need to know what you're doing. You need to practice the ground level, see how things work out, and I think you'll be impressed.